Do you believe in alien life forms? The chances you've seen one are minimal. Kenneth Arnold, a businessman and civilian pilot, claimed seeing 9 objects traveling at great speeds across the skies over Washington's Mount Rainier in June 1947 while flying his little plane. The Air Force started investigating the unidentified flying objects, and that is how Project Blue Book started. But what is Project Blue Book? And what did Arnold see? Keep on watching to find out. So, what is Project Blue Book? After numerous UFO sightings during the Cold War era, the Air Force formed Project Blue Book in 1952 to explain or debunk as many reports as possible in order to reduce public panic and protect the public from a genuine national security issue, an apparently technological phenomenon that was beyond human control and was not Russian, but represented an unfathomable potential threat. Though reports of mysterious flying objects often referred to spirits, angels, phantoms, ghosts, or other supernatural phenomena have existed for centuries, World War II and the development of rocket science happened to coincide with a new level of interest in what would later be termed unidentified flying objects. From March 1952 until December 17, 1969, the United States Air Force conducted a systematic investigation of unexplained flying objects. The project, which was based at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, was led by Captain Edward J. Ruppelt and followed previous efforts such as Project Sign, which began in 1947, and Project Grudge, which began in 1948. Project Blue Book had 2 objectives: determining if unidentified flying object, also known as UFOs, posed a national security concern, and scientifically analyzing UFO-related data. The Blue Book was a project that aimed to collect all available data on anything exceptional. They'd discover the object's location, where it landed, and what was inside some of the objects. Arnold observed a flying object, but what did Arnold see? Arnold saw a dazzling light, just a flash, like a glint of sun hitting a mirror when the glass is angled exactly so, as he would later remember. It had a bluish hue to it. He assumed the light was coming from another plane at first. It appeared to be flying at a distance of roughly 15 miles from him. It wasn't flashing at all. The lights appeared again, this time in a series. There were 9 flashes in quick succession. According to Arnold, the airborne objects flew in a diagonally stepped-down, echelon configuration, spread out across a distance that he subsequently assessed to be 5 miles. The objects appeared to be flying in a single, horizontal plane, yet they weaved from side to side, sometimes flipping and banking, darting about like the tail of a Chinese kite, as Arnold would put it. Arnold saw that they moved in lockstep. He claimed they didn't appear to have been piloted. Arnold assumed he was watching the testing of military aircraft after he discovered the things weren't commercial jets or, for a brief period, a skein of birds. However, if this is the case, the objects would be extremely advanced airplanes. Arnold decided to concentrate on the aircraft's speed as he flew past Mount Rainier, still attempting to figure out what he was looking at. He calculated the time it took the items to travel the 50 miles between Mount Rainier and Mount Adams, 1 minute and 42 seconds. Which was a poor calculation, but it meant the objects were going at a rate of 1,700 miles per hour. That means they were going 3 times faster than any airplane at the time. The formation of flying objects was actually traveling faster than the speed of sound. They haven't been able to figure out what these flying objects were since Arnold first spotted them. Since many viewers have reported seeing flying objects and other unexplainable incidents, we have one question. Are aliens actually real? There have been numerous UFO-related happenings, but this is one that stands out. An event in Marcel's life. An extraordinary incident is reported to have occurred on a farm near Roswell in July 1947. For a brief period of time, the report generated international headlines. In an official press announcement, the Roswell Army Airfield, also known as the RAF, reported that a crashed flying saucer, also known as a UFO, had been discovered. RAF captured flying saucer, according to various American newspapers. A day later, a new message was sent, this time mentioning a weather balloon that had crashed. After then, everything was deafeningly quiet for more than 3 decades. The Roswell event was not brought back into the spotlight until 1978, when Stanton T. Friedman, a well-known Canadian UFO researcher, met with Army Major Jesse Marcel. Marcel was involved in the recovery of the remains of a weather balloon by the Air Force in 1947. Marcel, an off-duty major, informed Friedman in 1978 that it wasn't a weather balloon, but rather an alien spacecraft. In Roswell, Friedman discovered dozens of other witnesses, including a general, who supported Marcel's reading. Friedman published a book, which prompted additional witnesses to come forward and dozens more books to be published. Jesse Marcel Jr., who claimed to have handled wreckage from an unexplained flying object crash near Roswell, New Mexico in 1947, has died at the age of 76. Denise Marcel said her father was found dead on Saturday at his home in Helena, Montana, less than 2 months after his last trip to Roswell. He was reading a book on UFOs at the time. Marcel has featured on TV shows, documentaries, and radio shows over the last 35 years, has been interviewed for magazine articles and books, and has lectured across the world on his experiences in Roswell. Linda, his wife, said, "He was credible. He wasn't lying. He never embellished, only told what he saw." Marcel's father was an Air Force intelligence officer who was said to be the first military official to explore the wreckage when Marcel was 10 years old, in early July 1947. Marcel said that his father carried a piece of the wreckage home with him and woke him up in the middle of the night to show him, telling him it was something he would never see again. The debris, according to his father, was not of this earth. Marcel claimed that the object that most impressed him was a little beam with purple-hued hieroglyphics on it. The military published a statement after an early allegation that a flying saucer had been discovered on a ranch near Roswell, claiming that the wreckage was from a weather balloon. Linda Marcel said, "They were told to keep it quiet and they did for years and years and years." In the late 1970s, physicist and UFO researcher Stanton Friedman talked with Marcel's father, reviving interest in the case. Marcel was described as a bold guy who established a standard for honesty, decency, and stating the truth by Friedman, who penned the foreword to Marcel's 2007 book The Roswell Legacy. The official statement of the United States Air Force on UFOs is provided here, as noted in the USAF fact sheet. Under Project Blue Book, the Air Force studied unidentified flying objects from 1947 through 1969. On December 17, 1969, the project, which was based at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, came to an end. 701 sightings remained unidentified out of a total of 12,618 reported to Project Blue Book. The decision to end UFO investigations was based on an assessment of a report titled Scientific Study of Unidentified Flying Objects prepared by the University of Colorado, a review of the University of Colorado's report by the National Academy of Sciences, previous UFO studies, and Air Force experience investigating UFO reports between 1940 and 1969. Project Blue Book came to the following findings as a consequence of these research, analyses, and experience garnered from studying UFO accounts since 1948. The first one is no UFO that the Air Force has ever reported, examined, or analyzed has ever posed a danger to our national security. The second one is there has been no proof presented to or discovered by the Air Force that unidentified sightings indicate technology breakthroughs or concepts that are beyond the scope of current scientific understanding. The third and the last one is that there has been no indication that the unidentified sightings are indeed alien vehicles. The Air Force rule creating and managing the program for studying and analyzing UFOs was repealed with the termination of Project Blue Book. The old Blue Book investigations documentation has been permanently moved to the National Archives and Records Service's Modern Military Branch, where it is available for public study and analysis. Nothing has happened since the end of Project Blue Book that would justify the Air Force resuming its UFO studies. Several colleges and professional scientific groups have held frequent gatherings and seminars to discuss UFO phenomenon. The Encyclopedia of Associations, published by Gale Research, has a list of private groups interested in aerial phenomena. Private organizations' interest in and prompt evaluation of UFO claims guarantees that credible evidence is not disregarded by the scientific community. Those who want to report UFO sightings may contact their local law enforcement agency. So, there is no definitive solution to the subject of whether or not aliens exist. Some people think they're real, while others don't. A lot of things happen that can't be explained and are still a mystery. Do you think that aliens exist? Let us know in the comments.